when Alex and I chose at the time to look at entrenching ourselves on the technical strength side. From South Africa, we invited, like Pitt said, in the Cape, and we opened up the world to South Africa. And from there, we moved on, and we had Japan, we were in Germany, we were in the UK, and up in Cedar Rapids, up in the USA. But the one thing I can say about Japan was an incredibly deep culture. We struck an understanding. If you look at this picture here, this elderly gentleman here on the far right is none other than the original Quito. Mr. Quito. And he invited us to his home. And if you look at here, it's his wine, his vineyard. And what is amazing about him is he said, I can never make wine like South Africa does. Because you Southern Hemisphere guys have a given, and that is your climate is your friend. We have to work hard to make a good wine. So there's no ways I would ever want to compete, but this is mine. It's incredible. And the experience that we had in Japan was incredible. They've got a very interesting culture in the sense of, they don't say no. It's I, that's yes but, which means I'm not so sure. I is yes, and I is yes affirmative, not a no. So it's very interesting. So we learned a lot to become more worldly, but that was difficult. So we eventually bought PWB Anchor in Australia, loss-making industry. And of course, Anglo's not used to loss-making, so I had to go and spend 9 months there in the early 2000s. And turned it around. We broke even on the first year, and then within 3 years, we brought cash to even help out Haggy in Sydney to pay back to South Africa. So we had PWB Anchor involved with the Quito hoist at the time, and luckily I had already gotten to know these guys. And that's why we got a closer bond with them as well. So that was another big advancement. Then of course, Pitt knows Tim Burgess, he was always an anchor man worldwide for us as well. But what we also had to do is go to the countries. And we brought in agent, a very serious agent, Joe D'Angelo, and he managed to grow 700 tons out of those 4,000 tons for us. In Europe, we sold into Germany for the first time ever. We sold into North America, and we're still selling now. Leclerc. So we were selling into the bigger parts of the world. Japan, I mean, can you imagine selling into Japan? And it was all high tech. And that made it very difficult because South Africa had its own way of doing things. And we had to build it up from there together. And that was the beauty because we had a very solid factory. And the only thing that we had, which was very challenging, is when the very experienced guys left. And of course, the score selling understanding was not distribution. It was more national. It was a score, end of story. And they didn't believe in brands either at the time. So we lost the brand. And now it's back. So fortunately, the Barnes Group, having taken over in the early 2000s, was a major, major plus to resurrect what was. Because I don't think it would have stood those 8 years. There's no question, it was too much of a loss making. Fortunately, the IDC owned it at the time, so at least they sustained the losses. But that was very difficult. So I think the one big thing, that you even asked in earlier as well, is to say, what do you say to the people, to add, to go further, and that is to continue with the building of continuous improvement. There's no doubt whether it is technical, whether it is sales, and build up relationships, because like Pitt said, the contact is critical worldwide. I mean, we're now an island and politics plays a big part, sadly, lately. And that's going to be another challenge, I think, that McKinnon is going to be facing. And I think South Africa as a whole needs still to integrate post-1994, which is also difficult in itself. So we'll see. I mean, I think with the changes that have happened in Europe in particular now, they're becoming more in need of us, whilst maybe America's playing the politics against us. So it's going to be very interesting in the next few years how they position themselves. And just the last thing also of great importance of the last couple of years is buying new equipment. They've got about 6 or 7 Chinese Wafius machines. Absolutely. And that's positive.